Hello everyone. हाय एवरीवन। तीन चीजें कंफर्म करना, वीडियो क्लियर है, ऑडियो क्लियर है और मैं हैंडसम हूँ। ये तीन चीजें कंफर्म करना कि वीडियो क्लियर है, ऑडियो क्लियर है और मैं हैंडसम हूँ। ये तीन चीजें क्लियर करके बताओ। ठीक है, ऑडियो टेस्ट करते हैं। పోతా పోతా పైసలన్నీ పట్టుకుపోతావారా, పెట్టుకుందామన్నీ నువ్వు కట్టుకుపోతావారా, పోరి పోరి అంటూ దాన్ని చుట్టుకుంటావారా, చక్కపోతే పెగ్గేస్తా ఆ ఆ ఆ ఆ। ऑडियो क्लियर है? ये जरूर बताना कि मैं हैंडसम हूँ, ये तो जरूर बताना है, ये जरूर बताना कि मैं हैंडसम हूँ। ठीक है, तो हम देख रहे थे रेगुलर लैंग्वेजेस। मीली एंड मूरे, और मूरे को मीली में इजी कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं। मूरे टू मीली, मूरे टू मीली तो बहुत ही इजी है ना। स्टेट्स में से लेके ट्रांसलेशन में आउटपुट डाल देना। लेकिन मीली टू मूरे, मीली टू मूरे इज ए डिफिकल्ट टास्क। मीली टू मूले इज ए डिफिकल्ट टास्क, है ना। मीली टू मूले इज ए डिफिकल्ट टास्क, राइट राइट। आज का टॉपिक होगा मीली टू मूरे, मीली टू मूरे। तो आज का एक ही घंटे का क्लास। हैप्पी फ्रेंडशिप डे एवरीवन, हैप्पी फ्रेंडशिप डे एवरीवन, हैप्पी फ्रेंडशिप डे। 1 minute। ठीक है। तो मीली टू मूरे कन्वर्ट करना थोड़ा सा मुश्किल है ना, है ना। तो हम एक एग्जांपल लेके देखेंगे कि मीली टू मूरे कैसे कन्वर्ट कर जाता है, किया जाता है। ठीक है, तो बाद में ना कहना कुछ भी, पहले दे दो वार्निंग, पार्टी चलेगी टिल 12:30 मॉर्निंग। आज 1 ही घंटा का क्लास होगा, ठीक है। आई एम नॉट वेल, थोड़ा गला में दर्द हो रहा है। आई विल टेक ओनली 1 आवर क्लास टुडे, ठीक है। बाद में ना कहना कुछ भी, पहले दे दो वार्निंग। पार्टी चलेगी टिल 12:30 मॉर्निंग, ठीक है। थोड़ा गला खराब है, ठीक है। तो मुरे टू मिले कन्वर्ट करेंगे एक बार। यस के दावन बैकग्राउंड है, ग्रू अप आफ्टर पार्टीशन, lived in rural hardships, studied under kerosene lamps and street lights, did his MTech and PhD in structural engineering at IIT Delhi, starting in 1979 while working full time with CPWD. Became a top engineer, ran a long career in public service, then completed his PhD at the age of 77. 77 में PhD कंप्लीट किया है भाई ये। His story shows lifelong learning, never letting age or adversity stop its pursuit of knowledge and excellence. 77 years में ये PhD कर दिया भाई, और क्या बोलूं मैं आपको। 77 years में PhD कर दिया है वो, 77 years में PhD कर दिया है वो, ठीक है। तो अभी हम एक काम करेंगे, ये जो मशीन है ना, बताओ ये मशीन क्या मशीन है, कोई बताओ ये मशीन क्या मशीन है और ये क्या कर रहा है। कोई बताओ ये मशीन क्या मशीन है और कोई बताओ कि ये मशीन क्या कर रहा है। ये मशीन एक्चुअली कर रहा है वंस कॉम्प्लीमेंट। ये मशीन एक्चुअली कर रहा है वंस कॉम्प्लीमेंट, ठीक है। 0 को 1 में बदलना है, 1 को 0 में बदलना है। दिस इज एक्चुअली डूइंग वंस कॉम्प्लीमेंट, ठीक है। ये एक्चुअली कर रहा है वंस कॉम्प्लीमेंट, ठीक है। आई वॉन्ट यू टू कन्वर्ट इट इंटू मूरे मशीन। आई वॉन्ट यू टू कन्वर्ट इट इंटू मूरे मशीन, है ना। आई वॉन्ट यू टू कन्वर्ट इट इंटू मूरे मशीन। हाउ आर यू गोइंग टू कन्वर्ट दिस इंटू मूरे मशीन, ठीक है। विंटेज आरबीआर सर वेरी स्मार्ट। एज हो जाता है भाई, एज हो जाता है, एज हो जाता है, क्या करूं, एज हो जाता है। ठीक है, तो इसको मूरे में कन्वर्ट करना है। देखना, अगर मूरे टू मिली कन्वर्ट करना है तो आप ये स्टेट में जो भी इनपुट है आउटपुट है उसको लेके ट्रांसलेशन में डाल रहा है इनकमिंग एडजस्ट में। लेकिन इधर दो इनकमिंग एडजस्ट है और दोनों के ऊपर अलग अलग सा आउटपुट है। इधर है 1 आउटपुट, इधर है 0 आउटपुट। दोनों में अलग अलग सा आउटपुट है ना, है ना, है ना, है ना। तो ये स्टेट में दो आएगा, एक आउटपुट आएगा 0 और एक आउटपुट आएगा 1। वाई? क्योंकि इधर देखना, ये स्टेट पे आउटपुट 0 1 भी आ रहा है और 0 भी आ रहा है, तो दो स्टेट तो बन जाएगा। आप किसी भी स्टेट को इनिशियल स्टेट बनाओ, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, ठीक है। और अभी देखना, ए ऑन 0 क्या कर रहा है, 1 आउटपुट कर रहा है और ए को जा रहा है। ए ऑन 0 1 आउटपुट कर रहा है और आउटपुट और ए पे जा रहा है। और ए ऑन 1, ए ऑन 1 क्या कर रहा है, ए ऑन 1 आउटपुट 1 कर रहा है। ए ऑन 1 आउटपुट, ए ऑन 1 आउटपुट, सॉरी ए ऑन 0 है ना, ए ऑन 0 ए को जा रहा है और आउटपुट 1 कर रहा है। आउटपुट 1 कर रहा है, ठीक है। तो a on 1 क्या होगा? तो a on 1 क्या होगा? तो अगर आप देखेंगे a on 1 वो जाएगा 0 में, ये on 1 जाएगा ये कोई, लेकिन आउटपुट 0 आएगा, है ना। और ये on 1 जाएगा ये कोई और आउटपुट 0 होगा, ठीक है। ये क्या मशीन है? ये DFA मशीन है। ये क्या मशीन है? ये DFA मशीन है, ठीक है, ठीक है। ये हो गया मीली मशीन से मूरे मशीन, ठीक है। अभी और एक एग्जांपल करेंगे मीली मशीन से मूरे मशीन। आप इसके बारे में बताओ, ये मशीन क्या है? ये on seeing any number of zeros leaving it as 0, and on seeing first one leaving it as 1, and B on seeing any number of zeros is making it as 0, and on seeing any number of ones is making it as 1, ठीक है। 0 1 1 0। ये क्या मशीन है भाई? पहले आप ये बताओ कि ये क्या मशीन है। अच्छा, दिस इंग्लिश सेशन इज इट? आई एम सॉरी। प्लीज टेल मी व्हाट मशीन दिस इज। Please tell me what is this machine. Please tell me what is this machine. Please tell me what is this machine. Very good. This machine is 2's complement machine, है ना। This machine is two's complement machine, है ना, because it will find out the two's complement. This machine is two's complement machine. Now I want you to convert it into Mealy machine. Sorry, Moore machine. This is a Mealy machine. Output is associated with the transition, so this is a Mealy machine. Now I want to convert it into Moore machine. Today my throat is not well. That is why my voice is so low. My throat is not well. That is why my voice is so low. Okay, bear with me for today's session. From tomorrow I will be fine. Okay, okay. So how are you going to convert it into Moore machine? If you see state number A, there is only one incoming edge, and that incoming edge is having a output 0. If you see state number A, if you see state number B, this incoming edge is saying 1, this incoming edge is saying 1, this incoming edge is saying 0, this incoming edge is saying 0, right? So how are you going to convert into Moore machine? So for A, there is no need of two states. Only one output is possible. You can write A0. You can write A0, right? For B, there are two outputs possible. One time 1 is possible and other time 0 is possible. है ना? So for B, there are two outputs possible. One time 1 is possible and one time 0 is possible. One time 1 is possible and one time 0 is possible. For A, only one output is possible, which is 0. For B, one time 1 is possible, one time 0 is possible, right? Right? Now let's try to fill the transitions. Okay? How are you going to fill the transitions? So here, if you observe it carefully, A on 0 is going to A only and the output is 0. So A on 0 is going to A only and output is 0. A on 1 is going to B and output is 1. A on 1 is going to B and output is 1. Right? Now B on 0, B on 0, B on 0, B on 0. Let's see it, okay? Where it is going. B on 0 is going to B, but the output is 1. beyond 0 is going to be, but the output is 1. And this here also beyond 0 is going to be, and the output is 1. And the output is 1. And the output is 1. Right, 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 right. Now, what about beyond 1? What about beyond 1? What about beyond 1? Beyond 1 is going to be only, but the output is 0, isn't it? So beyond 1 is going to be only, but output is 0. Beyond 1 is going to be only, but output is 0, right? So this is the Moore machine. This is the Moore machine for the given Mealy machine. For the given Mealy machine, this is the Moore machine. Okay? For the given Moore machine, this is the Mealy machine. ठीक है, ठीक है. Okay, okay, okay. So today my throat is having some problem. That is why I'm not able to speak louder. That is why I'm not able to speak louder. Okay. Now you convert this. Now you convert this Mealy to Moore. Now you convert Mealy to Moore. Okay. Q1 0 comma Z1, Q2 0 comma Z2, Q3 1 and Z2, Q2 0 and Z1, and Q3 I have written it wrong. Q3 0 on Z1, 1 on Z1, 1 on Z1, this is Z1, okay? This is 1 on Z1, and Q3 1 on Z2, 1 on Z2, and Q1 1 on Z1, Q1 1 on Z1, Q1 1 on Z1. Okay. Now this is a Mealy machine. This is a Mealy machine because output is on the transition. I want you to convert it into Moore machine. I want you to convert this Mealy machine into Moore machine. Okay? I'll give you 5 minutes time. I'll give you 5 minutes time. Okay? Thank you, Roshan. I'll give you 5 minutes time. Convert it. Post it on Telegram. Post it on Telegram. Do it and post it on Telegram. We are just 7 members away from 7,000. In Telegram, the current members are 6,993. In Telegram, 6,993 is the number. In Telegram, the number is 6,993. We just need 7 more. We just need 7 more. Okay. We just need 7 more. Okay. We just need 7 more. Take time. Take 5 minutes of time and do it. Okay. It is not so easy. How to prepare for aptitude? You have aptitude teacher, right? You can prepare from him. It is not very easy. Take your time and do it. Okay. अरे एप्टीट्यूड तो डाई हाथ का खेल है. Aptitude is very easy. You don't need me. You ask me for difficult subjects. You ask me for discrete mathematics. You ask me for DBMS, you ask me for CN, TOC, compile and design. You ask me for difficult subjects. Don't ask me for simple subjects like aptitude. Aptitude is just like a child's game. Okay, there is nothing in aptitude. Anyone can clear it. Okay. Okay, so let's see this, guys. Let's convert this machine into Moore machine. Okay, so how are you going to convert it? Now if you observe this carefully, Q1 does not have any incoming edges, therefore there is no output for Q1. Q1 does not have any incoming edges, therefore there is no output for Q1, right? Now if you observe Q2, Q2 is having a output Z1, Q2's incoming edge is Z1, so Q2 is having a output Z1, and also there is one more incoming edge Z2, which means Q2 will have two. Q2 will have a output Z1 and Q2 will have a output Z2. Q2 will have a output Z2. Q2 will have Z1 and Q2 will have Z2, right? Now coming to Q3, you can see that we are getting Z1 here and we are getting Z2 here. We are getting Z1 here and we are getting Z2 here, right? Right? Now coming to Q3, coming to Q3, coming to Q3, coming to Q3, we are having output 1, and coming to Q3, we are having output Z2, right? Z1 and Z2. Coming to Q3, we have output Z1 and we have output Z2, right? Right? So now you just have to fill the transitions. That's it. Make it a DFA. You just have to make it a DFA. Okay? You just have to make it a DFA. How are you going to make it a DFA? Go step by step. What is Q0 on 0 doing? Q0 on 0 is going to Q2 with output 0, right? So Q0 on 0 is going to Q2 with output Z1, right? This is done. Now what is Q1 on 1? Where is it going? Q1 on 1 is going to Q3 and output Z1. Q1 on 1 is going to Q3. Q1 on 1 is going to Q3 and output is Z1. Q1 on 1 is going to Q3 and output is Z1. And output is Z1. Right. So Q1 is done for 0 and 1. Let's see Q2. Now Q2 on 0 is going to Q2 and output is Z2. Q2 on 0 is going to Q2 and output is Z2. Right. Now similarly Q2 on 0 is going to Q2 and output Z2. Q2 on 0 is going to Q2 and output Z2. Now check about 1. Where is 1 going? Now if you observe it, I'll have some hot water in between, okay? I will have some hot water. Okay. So Q1 on 0 is over. Now you have to apply Q2 on 1. Now what about Q2 on 1? Q2 on 1 is going to Q3 and output is Z1. So Q2 on 1 is going to Q3 and output is Z1. And Q2 on 1 is going to Q3 and output is Z1. Both of them, right? So Q2 on 1 is going to Q3 and output is Z1. Q2 on 1 is going to Q3, output is Z1. Okay. So Q2 is done. For Q2 we have decided what happens on 0. and what happens on 1. For Q2 we have decided what happens on 0 and what happens on 1. Now we have to decide about Q3. Now we have to decide about Q3, right? So Q3 on 0 will go to Q2. Q3 on 0 will go to Q2 with output Z1. Q3 on 0 will go to Q2 with output Z1. With output Z1, isn't it? Q3 on 0 will go to Q2 with output Z1. With output Z1. Right, right. Similarly, Q3 on 0 is Q3. We're talking about Q3, right? Q3 on 0 is going to Q2 and output is Z1. Q3 on 0 is going to Q2. Q3 on 0 is going to Q2 and output is Z1. Q3 on 0, check this. Q3 on 0 is going to Q2 and output is Z1. Q3 on 0 is going to Q2 and output is Z1. Right? 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 Now coming to Z1. Now coming to my throat is not good. I'm having hot water. Okay. So coming to Q3 on 1, 0 is done, right? Q3 on 0 is done. We have to see what is Q3 doing on 1. Q3 on 1 is going to Q3 only, but output is Z2, which means Q3 on 1 is going to Q3 only, but output is Z2. But output is Q3 on 1 is going to Q3, but output is Z2. Similarly, Q3 on 1 is going to Q3 only and output is 1. So we have done everything, right? So this is the Moore machine. This is the Moore machine. This is the Mealy machine. Now you understood how to convert Mealy to Moore and Moore to Mealy. Okay? పోత పోత పైసలన్నీ పట్టుకపోతావారా, పెట్టుకున్నవన్నీ నువ్వు కట్టుకపోతావారా, పోరి పోరి అంటూ దాన్ని చుట్టుకుంటావారా, సక్కపోసి పెగ్గేస్తా ఆ ఆ ఆ ఆ, సక్కపోసి పెగ్గేస్తా ఆ ఆ ఆ ఆ. ఓకే ఓకే. We have not given definition for Mealy and Moore machine. So finite automata with output has two variations. One variation is called Moore. One variation is called Moore, and the other variation is called Mealy. And the other variation is called Mealy. Okay. So you are going to write it as Q sigma delta Q naught capital delta lambda. Okay, I will explain you what each one of this is. You already know Q. What is Q? Q is set of all states. Q is set of all states and it is finite. Right. What is sigma? Sigma is the input alphabet. Sigma is the input alphabet. And what is delta? Delta is the transition function. Since it is a delta is a transition function. Delta is a transition function. Delta is a transition function. Okay. Delta is a transition function. And delta is Q cross sigma to Q because it is a DFA. Mealy and Moore machines both are DFAs. Okay. That is why Q cross sigma to Q. Right. And capital delta is output function. Capital delta is output function, and lambda is output. Capital delta is output alphabet. Output alphabet, and delta is output function. Output function. Output function, right? Now, what is Moore machine and what is Mealy machine? Where is the difference? Difference is in the output, right? So here the output is associated with the state. For every state there will be one output, right? And here the output is associated with the transition. Matlab, for every transition q cross sigma there is a output. Q cross sigma there is a output, right? Delta. What do I mean by this? For every state there is an output. Here for every transition there is an output. That is the main difference between Moore machine and Mealy machine. Okay. My throat is not at all well, so थोड़ा धीरे धीरे बोल रहा हूँ, आप सोना मत, ठीक है? मैं थोड़ा धीरे धीरे बोल रहा हूँ, आप सोना मत, ठीक है? आप सोना मत, ठीक है? ठीक है ना? Let me take a 3-minute break. Then we will see TOC, regular expressions or regular languages are over. So with this, we have completed regular languages. Regular languages are completed. Regular languages are completed. Regular languages are completed. Okay. Now we will go to context-free languages. Before that, I have to talk about types of grammars, which is called Chomsky hierarchy. Before that, I will take quick break, 2-3 minutes ka break. My throat is giving me problem. I will take 2-3 minutes of break and I'll come back. Okay. Meanwhile, you just revise. Okay. So guys, we are done with regular languages are completed. Regular languages are completed. So far, regular languages are completed, right? Now we are going to see context-free languages. Before that, I want to talk about Chomsky hierarchy. Okay, there is something called as Chomsky hierarchy. Types of grammars. You will not understand anything now. Just write it down. Later I will explain you what is this. Okay, types of grammars. Chomsky hierarchy. Chomsky hierarchy. Types of grammars. Chomsky hierarchy. ठीक है. First we are going to see type 0 grammar. First you are going to see type 0 grammars. Type 0 grammars. These are also called as unrestricted grammars. Okay. These grammars include all formal grammars. These grammars include all formal grammars. All formal grammars. In unrestricted grammars, URG means unrestricted grammars. All productions are of form. All productions are of form alpha derives beta. All productions are of form alpha derives beta, where alpha and beta may have any number of terminals and non-terminals. Any number of terminals and non-terminals. Any number of terminals and non-terminals with at least one non-terminal on the LHS. With at least one non-terminal on the LHS. Okay. So what does this mean? Type 0 grammar means all the productions will be of the form alpha derives beta. Alpha can contain any number of zeros, any number of zeros and ones, any number of A's or B's or zeros or ones, any number of terminals and non-terminals. Beta can have any number of terminals and non-terminals, right? So I'll give you an example of this grammar. With that example, it will be easy for you to understand. Okay. So let us see one example. L of G is equal to a power 2i such that I is greater than or equal to 1. L of G equal to a power 2i such that I is greater than or equal to 1. For this, unrestricted grammar will be like this. You can use context-free grammar, regular grammar easily, but unrestricted grammar will be like this. And one more thing, guys, let me tell you one thing. There will be no questions on this. But still it is in syllabus, so we are covering. It because it is in syllabus, but there will be no questions asked on this. So far in GATE history, No question has been asked so far in gate history. Actually, I got a throat infection, so I will be very slow while explaining, right? So try to catch up, cope up with me, right? AC, small ab, Ca derives, AAC, CB derives, CB derives, DB, CB derives DB, CB derives E, AD derives DA, AD derives AC, AE derives EA, and AE derives epsilon. This will not be asked in the exam. This will not be asked in the exam. No one is going to ask you to write type 0 grammar. Okay. So for your sake of information, I will do a derivation and I will show you. Okay. I will just do a derivation and I will show you. So S derives AC, AB. Now A derives A, CB. Now A derives A, E. Now this derives E derives E derives EA, and EA derives AE, and this derives AA, because AE derives epsilon. You don't have to by heart it. Just for the sake of information I am giving you. This is type 0 grammar. Don't worry, this will not be asked in exam. This question will not be asked in exam. This question will not be asked in exam. Okay? Okay? This question will not be asked in exam. Okay? Don't worry about it. This question will not be asked. Fine. Now let us see type 1 grammar. So one more point that you need to add here is the language of type 1. The languages of type 0, the languages of type 0 are called recursively enumerable languages. The languages of type 0 are called recursively enumerable languages. Okay. Now we will see type 1 grammars. Now we will see type 1 grammars. Type 1 grammars. So these grammars define CSL. CSL means context sensitive language. CSL means context sensitive language. Okay. All productions are of form. All productions are of form. A derives. All productions are of form. Alpha derives beta. All productions are of form. Alpha derives beta. Alpha derives beta, where alpha comma beta may have where alpha comma beta may have where alpha comma beta may have any number of terminals and non-terminals alpha comma beta may have any number of terminals and non-terminals. ठीक है? And alpha should have at least one variable. Alpha should have at least one variable. It cannot have the production. It cannot have the production. It cannot have the production of form. It cannot have the production of form A derives epsilon. It cannot have the production of form A derives epsilon. ठीक है? ठीक है? So what is it? These grammars define CSL. Type 1 means they define context sensitive languages, and all the productions are of form alpha derives beta. Alpha comma beta may have any number of terminals and non-terminals. Alpha should have at least one variable. It cannot have the production of the form A derives alpha. It cannot have the production of the form A derives alpha. It cannot have the production of the form A derives alpha. ठीक है? These are called context sensitive grammars. These are called context sensitive grammars. Why are they called? Sir, I have your previous year GATE CS course from ML Hub. Should I switch to Parakram or is it shift to Parakram? Psycho Factory, shift to Parakram. Okay. मेरा गला थोड़ा खराब है. ठीक है. तो it can have any number of any kind of production except alpha derives epsilon. Why is this condition? These grammars define CSL. All the grammars are of form alpha beta, and alpha beta can have any number of terminals and non-terminals. And there is one more rule. The rule is mod alpha should be less than or equal to mod beta. Mod alpha should be less than or equal to mod beta. What does this mean? Mod alpha is less than or equal to mod beta. What does this mean? Which means always number of strings in the left hand side should be greater than number of strings in the right hand side. Okay. Now why are they called context sensitive is important. Why are type 1 grammars called context sensitive grammars? Why are type 1 grammars called context sensitive grammars? Why are we calling them context sensitive grammars? Because alpha A beta is going to be replaced with alpha gamma beta only, which means A is replaced with alpha only in the context when A is between alpha and beta, right? So what do I mean to say is alpha A beta is going to be replaced by alpha gamma beta, which means A is replaced by gamma only in the context कब होता है only in the context A derives alpha, only in the context alpha is, नहीं तो ऐसा लिखेंगे, only in the context A is present between alpha and beta, A is present between alpha and beta. ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है. And the machine which recognizes these languages, are called linear bounded automata, The machines which represent this language are called linear bound automata. For example, if I write like this, L of G equal to A power n, B power n such that n is greater than or equal to 1. How are you going to write the grammar for this? S derives SBC, or AC, B derives A, CB derives BC, BA derives AA, C derives B, right? So don't worry, this question will not be asked. This entire part is not important, but still I can show you some derivation, okay? But still I will show you some derivation just to be on the safer side. I will show you some derivation. ठीक है? Sidhu, every batch, when I do a new batch, it will be more interesting. ठीक है? Okay guys, so today we will end the class here. My throat is not good. From tomorrow we will go till 1:30 or 2:30. Okay, today we will end the class here. Okay, my throat is not good. ठीक है. जय हिंद everyone.